Welcome back to another video. Today I'm explaining conjuration. Now, conjuration or a conjurer, in most cases, involves creating a physical, independent material object out of one's aura. And the only way to find this out, of course, through water divination, is if a student creates impurities in the water in the glass during a water divination. Of course, that makes the student a conjurer. Only if you're able to make something that does not exist in its existence. Of course, it's more like a alchemist than anything, rather than someone who could just spawn something. However, users in this category can also create laws and principles and affix them to a specific area, or even create their own pocket dimension. For example, the pocket dimension that they use, I can't remember him, in the Chimera Antarctic, where they could just sit in a room. Though a conjurer has to undergo a lot of visualization training, once they have mastered the materialization of a certain object, come on now, they can conjure it and dispel it in an instant wherever they want, making them the more dangerous nin types. Of course, constructs created via conjuration have a subtle independence to them. Yeah. Of course, under most circumstances, the conjurer themselves are not aware that they may have yet to be dematerialized from, like, most things. Like, if a conjurer is able to conjure anything and it stays for a long time, cool. But if it dispels and they don't notice, mostly they need more experience. Anyway, the durability of a conjured object can generally be taken as a measure of the user's skill, although conditions can be used to strengthen it. Of course, again, if the conjurer is not experienced enough or strong enough in nin, then maybe sometimes it will have a time limit or dispels at a certain pace. Anyway, some conjurers have exhibited capacity to alter the length and size of a material item. Additionally, conjured objects can also possess special supernatural abilities. Of course, Shizuku is one who was able to conjure a vacuum cleaner that can infinitely suck up objects, with the condition that it cannot suck up living things and things made with them. Of course, making it stronger than what it was supposed to be. However, even if one were to completely master this nin type, there would still be objects that would be impossible to materialize. Of course, as a sword that could cut anything, that would be against the rules, as they will go beyond human capacity. Izuvan vaguely described this principle as the inability to conjure overly supernatural. So things that cannot perceive or go beyond a human's limit, which is unfortunate. Of course, similar to manipulation, different video. Conjure abilities tend to be very specific, complex, and conditional. Of course, like Kurapika, for example, is able to materialize a binding chain, but with the condition that it can only be used against the members of the Phantom Troop, that he will die if he breaks this rule. So he can't use his chains against most other villains, handicapping him to just take down the Phantom Troop, if anything. This resulted in his train being so strong, even a very powerful enhancer like Uvolgin, finally his name I remember, could not break it. Of course, one of the stronger enhancers that we meet in the series. By resorting to limitations, a conjurer can take their ability a step further and materialize objects with properties that come even closer to exceeding human capacity, although they still cannot surpass it. Again, cannot surpass human imagination and or something that goes above like human things. Obviously, conjuration is the only way in which nin can create things that non-users can see and touch, unless they are hidden from the senses within. Of course, again, conjurer could create also abilities whose constructs are invisible to non-users and even specific nin users. And they are, however, the fewer people that there are who can see a conjured construct, they lower the risk and the more energy that is expended in its creation, resulting in an increase or cost. So you're basically spending nin and aura to make something rather way big, or something that is an incredibly powerful tool that you can use against your enemy. Kurapika is one. It's just Kurapika is a special case because he's under the term specialist. Yeah, it's kind of it. Anyway, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.